Today we are going to complete exercises of chapter number 11, A Christmas Carol. Comprehension A. Fill in the blanks suitably to complete the summary of the play. First, a mean-spirited, miserly old man named Ebenezer Scrooge sits in his counting house on a cold Christmas Eve. Second, as his nephew leaves with best wishes for a Merry Christmas, the old man manages to spit out an angry "Bah, humbug." Humbug matlab nonsense. In response to his nephew's Merry Christmas, two gentlemen also drop by and ask Scrooge for a donation. Scrooge reacts rudely to the visitors with bitterness. Third, later that evening, after returning to his dark, cold apartment, Scrooge receives a frightening visitation from his dead colleague and partner, Jacob Marley's ghost. Fourth, Marley hopes to save Scrooge from escaping his fate and warns him that his greedy and self serving life shall condemn him to a life of a restless spirit. Then, next, then third, Marley informs Scrooge that three spirits would hunt him for the next 3 nights. After the host disappeared, Scrooge went straight to bed without undressing and fell asleep instantly. Sixth, he is awakened by the arrival of the first spirit, ghost of Christmas past, which looked like a strange childlike figure. The ghost led Scrooge revisits his old days and the place where he served as an apprentice with a jolly merchant named Fezziwig. Scrooge was haunted by deep regret. Seventh, the second ghost who visited him was the ghost of the Christmas present, a giant wearing a royal robe. He takes Scrooge through London to visit his clerk Bob Cratchit's dwelling on a snowy Christmas day. Scrooge watches the Cratchit family prepare a feast on their poor home. He discovers that Bob Cratchit has a son, Tiny Tim. Despite being crippled, the child is kind and humble, which warms Scrooge's heart. 8. On the third night, the ghost of Christmas future leads Scrooge through a strange series of events relating to an unknown man's death. Scrooge also learns that Bob Cratchit's son, Tiny Tim, was no more, but the family continues to be supportive and loving. The future needs to be changed, or the Cratchit's family could lose a dear one. Ninth, finally, the hooded figure takes Scrooge to a miserable churchyard and points to a tombstone with Ebenezer's his own name. Scrooge looks at the headstone and is horrified to see engraved on it. 10th, he begs the spirit to change his fate, promising to alter his ways and honor Christmas in his heart. Soon he finds him back home, tucked in his bed. 11th, on Christmas Day, Scrooge hopes to share his newfound Christmas spirit and asks a boy in the street to get the prize turkey from the poulterers with the promised payment of shilling or so that he could send it to Bob Cratchit even a crown. एक मिनट मैं 11 फिर से रिपीट करती हूँ. On Christmas Day, Scrooge hopes to share his newfound Christmas spirit and ask a boy in the street to get the prize turkey from the poulterers with the promised payment of shilling or even a crown so that he could send it to Bob Cratchit. Then next, the once miserly Scrooge even gives Cratchit a raise in his salary. He upholds Christmas in his heart as he treats Tiny Tim as his own son and turns out to be a good friend, good master, and a man as as good a man as good old city knew. Then B, answer the questions briefly. First question, what did Scrooge think about the Christmas in the beginning? How did his nephew's opinion differ? Answer, Scrooge thought that Christmas spirit of giving was all humbug and a waste of time. He was in no mood to celebrate and continued to be his stingy self on Christmas Eve. He rudely rejected all Christmas greetings, invitation, and good wishes. His nephew Fred always thought of Christmas time as a kind, forgiving, pleasant time. Second question, why was Scrooge horrified when he returned home from the counting house? Scrooge was already in a nasty and irritable mood to witness the Christmas spirit in the town. When he returned home from the counting house, he was horrified to see in the knocker his dead colleague, Marley's face with a dismal light on it. Third, darkness is cheap. What does this statement reveal about Scrooge? Answer, Scrooge was so miserly that he would not even spend on electricity and welcome darkness. Living in darkness suited his pocket since it cost him nothing. Most people spare themselves Most people would spare themselves any discomfort and indulge in some comforts, but not Scrooge. The stingy man invested in darkness since it saved his money. Fourth question, that the spirit within him should walk among his fellow men and travel far and wide. If that spirit if that spirit goes not forth in life, it has to do so after death. What do Marley's words convey to humankind? Answer, Marley's ghost had been forced to visit his business partner and friend Ebenezer Scrooge. The spectre wanted Scrooge to heed his advice and mend his miserly ways. He reminded his friend that the human spirit needed compassion, interaction, and brotherhood of his fellow man, friends, workers, and employees. If he was devoid of love, faith, and generosity, then his soul would be cursed to remain restless forever even after death. He did not want his partner to suffer the same fate that he had been condemned to. He too had been punished for his greedy and selfish life, and thus his spirit wandered like a lost soul, bound in heavy chains. It was a reminder to all mankind to live in brotherhood and save themselves guilt and regret by caring, sharing, showing compassion, forgiveness, and friendliness with fellow human beings. Fifth question, he has the power to make us happy or unhappy, to make our work a pleasure or toil. The happiness he gives is worth a fortune. Who does he refer to? How does Scrooge compliment him? Answer, he refers to Scrooge's one-time employer, Mr. Fezziwig. Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig had hosted a festival ball one Christmas Eve in their warehouse, and everyone left feeling joyful and full of the Christmas spirit. When the first ghost scoffs Mr. Fezziwig's actions, Scrooge jumps to his old employer's defense, realizing he had the power to make all those working for him happy or unhappy, to make their work a pleasure or toil. The happiness he gave his employees was worth a fortune. With this realization, the mean spirited, miserly Scrooge was immediately overcome by guilt, since as an employer he always overworked his employees and underpaid them. C. Think and answer the questions. First, as good as gold and better. He hoped the people saw him in the church because he was a cripple. It would do all men good to remember upon Christmas Day, who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. Tiny Tim was mature beyond his years. What do Bob's words convey about his son? The ghost of Christmas present takes Scrooge to the poor but happy home of Bob Cratchit. Bob returns from the church with Tiny Tim, his youngest one, on his shoulders. Tim is lame but the apple of everyone's eyes. Mother wanted to know how he had behaved at church. Bob proudly explained how exemplary his behavior was. He narrated how the little one wanted people at church to see him. He felt it would do them good to see him, the cripple, and understand on Christmas that divine power could produce miracles. Though Tiny Tim was very young, he managed to mouth great moral for mankind and is a symbol of gratitude in a thankless world. He is more like an angel, a reminder of Scrooge about his tight fisted attitude and revives his will to undo his past misdeeds. The boy is a bundle of joy in a dismal world that needs to be happy with what they have rather than constantly complain about want and need. Second question. Go and buy it and tell them to bring it here. Come back, I will give you a shilling. Come back in less than 5 minutes, and I will give you half a crown. How did the speaker's attitude towards money change from the donation incident at the start of the play? Ebenezer Scrooge only thought of making and saving money. He believed Christmas was humbug and he had no place for charity or friends or gratitude in his life. But on the Christmas Eve, his friend and partner Jacob Marley's ghost visits him, advising him to change his ways and inform him that he would be visited by three spirits. The ghost of Christmas past revisits his happy apprenticeship with Mr. Fezziwig, who was genuinely concerned about his employees and was responsible for the happiness and well being of his workers. The ghost of Christmas present showed him the poor but cheerful family of his clerk Bob Cratchit, celebrating Christmas and togetherness. The ghost of Christmas future showed him the possibility of death and no hope of remorse. Scrooge awakened to the realization of his cold and calculated actions. On Christmas, on Christmas morning, he promises to be a new man with good intentions and shares the true spirit of Christmas by gifting a Christmas turkey to the Cratchit house. He had opened his purse strings and his heart. Third question. How did the miserly man plan to erase the writing on the stone? What amends did he make that showed that he was a changed man? Pick out sentences from the play to show that Scrooge became an ideal citizen of the land. Answer. The ghost of Christmas future leads Scrooge to a graveyard where the headstone carries his own name. He is horrified to witness Tiny Tim's death and even his own. No one has a kind word for him and he dies in anonymity. He desperately begs the phantom to give him another opportunity to alter his fate, promising to change his greedy ways and to honor the spirit of Christmas. His genuine, his, his genuine and remorse and promise to atone for his past misdeeds win him a second chance to become a good man. Scrooge does it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who does not die. He is a second father. He becomes as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew.